Greetings, Professor McKee here with another quick Excel tip your finance professor wishes you knew. In this video, we'll learn how to use the FV function in Excel to find the future value for an annuity due. In any intro finance class, you will have a unit on annuities, and we professors will have questions where we give you 4 of the annuities characteristics and ask you to find the missing one. If you want to ace those questions, this video is for you. I've prepared a question here, very similar to the same one I used for an ordinary annuity future value. The only difference here is we are told that the payment is happening at the beginning of each year. If it says beginning of each year, each period, that means we have what we call an annuity due. The timing of our payment is different, and so we need to account for that. And there's thankfully settings we can use in the Excel function to handle it for us. Personally, I don't really teach annuity due all that much, but in your class, your professor might, so I'm going to cover it anyways. Now, for any annuity question, our standard approach here is to take this verbal description and convert them into actual numbers. So first of all, this is an annuity due. I'm going to put a 1 here, so I know that I'm doing an annuity due, not an ordinary annuity. This will become important later when we go into the actual function. N is our number of periods. There are 20 years. Mr. Bennett is saving once a year for all those 20 years, so 20 periods per year. His interest rate is the 5%. Put it in 0.05. His present value, this is the initial amount that would be in the account. For this kind of question, usually it's going to be 0, and in this case, it's not given, which means nothing is in his account. 0. Payment is the amount he puts into the account each period. He's putting in 5,000. And future value is, of course, what we want to find, so we don't put anything in there just quite yet. Now, many times I would have to go back and change some of the values for present value, payment, and future value to be negative. I don't need to do this here. I'm finding one of them. One of them is also 0. So whether I make 5,000 negative or positive, whatever perspective I'm thinking of when I solve this question, it doesn't matter. The Excel function will still give me a valid, correct answer. So I will just leave it as a positive 5,000. Now I go to FV here. I type equals f of v, open parentheses, and then I put in the parameters for my f of v function. So first one is rate, standing for interest rate. That's 0.05. Make sure it's a decimal. Don't put in 5 like you would for a financial calculator. Number of periods is 20. My payment is the 5,000. Present value, that's in brackets, which means there's a default value. The default value here is 0, and our present value is 0. We're still going to put something in, though, because we need to also put in something for type. And also, in theory, we could have a future question, not this one, but a different one that you might encounter, where we want to put something in here. So put in 0, and now we get to type. Type is how Excel knows if it's an ordinary annuity or annuity due. If we leave it as default and don't put anything in, Excel will assume it's payments at the end of each year, ordinary annuity. That's not what we want. Payments are happening at the beginning of each period now. So we're going to put in 1. And a 1 tells it it's annuity due. A 0 tells it it's ordinary annuity. And we have annuity due. Close parentheses, enter, and we get our value for the future value. It's 173,596. That's how much he's going to accumulate after 20 years. Now, if we want to be a little fancier, use better Excel practices, and most importantly, be able to reuse this question if you see more annuity due questions, we can use cell references here. So instead of entering everything in directly, I can indicate to Excel which cell to use, and then Excel will go there, look up the value, and plug it into my function. My first value was rate. I put that value right here in B7. So I type in B7, I get my value. You can see how it highlights, so to indicate that it's going to be taken from B7. I can also click. So next one is number of periods. That's B6. Next one is payment. That's B9. Present value, B8. And then I can put in type. Actually, it tells you right here what it's going to mean. And I want B5. Hit enter, and I still get that negative 173. And so now I can change any of these values. And when I change that value, my answer here will update with the new thing. So I can change my 4 possible parameters. I can also tell Excel, hey, this is not actually annuity due anymore. It's a normal annuity by just changing this value to 0. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to, let's say it's back to a normal annuity. It's ordinary annuity now. I just go 0, and my FV updates. It goes down, of course, because my payments into the savings account are happening later in time. Later in time means less valuable, so it's going to have a smaller future value. So with this single function, you can now find the future value of any annuity due your professor might throw at you. If you found this video helpful, please comment, like, and/or subscribe so that other students can find it too. Happy studying.